Hey everyone, it's Michele Caruana, creator of the Marketing Junkie podcast. And in today's video, I want to talk all about Facebook ad frequency. But before we get into all of the tips and strategies, I just want to throw out a quick reminder that if you want more free Facebook ads tips and super simple marketing strategies, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you never miss a video. I put out a new video full of free tips every single week. All right, all set? All right, let's talk about Facebook ad frequency. So Facebook ad frequency is defined by the average number of times somebody in your audience has seen your ad either in their newsfeed or in another ad placement that you selected at the ad set level. So essentially, if you have an ad frequency of 3, that means that somebody in your audience on average has seen your ad about 3 times. Now, there is a big misconception, especially with people just getting started with Facebook ads, that if you have a super large audience and a smaller budget, that you don't really need to worry about Facebook ad frequency. However, a lot of times this is false. And if you've taken my Facebook Ads Fix course, which I will link in the description of this video if you guys are interested, I really talk about Facebook ad frequency as one of the 3 key metrics that I always monitor for both my Facebook ad account and my client's ad account, regardless of their budget or audience size. And this is for a few different reasons. But first, let's do the math and kind of talk about how this misconception came to be. So let's say your audience is 1 million people. Pretty large, right? That's generally what I recommend for a cold audience. So let's say you're spending about $10 a day and you reach about, let's say 500 people a day. Let's say you're doing a conversions ad or a traffic ad or something like that. That is a pretty realistic impression amount for that particular budget. Now, doing the math, and I'm looking at my notes because even though I went to school for math, I still struggle with it in my head. But it would take you about 2,000 days or $20,000 to get to a frequency above 1, right? Well, not necessarily. And this is for a couple different reasons. And this is really how this misconception came to be. A lot of people think my audience is so big, I'm never going to reach the whole audience. I don't even need to look at my ad frequency. But this is a big trap. And this is how a lot of people waste money with Facebook ads. So there are a couple different reasons for this. Number 1, your audience actually has to be active on social media during the time your ad is being shown to actually see the ad. So there are Facebook accounts that might have fallen into your audience that are not necessarily active, or they might not be active during the time of reporting or when your ad is active. Also, there are millions of advertisers utilizing Facebook marketing. So not only are you competing with them, you're also competing with their friends and family posts. So if you think about it from Facebook's perspective, let's say person A falls into your audience. However, that person only uses Facebook for 20 or 30 minutes a day. Facebook can't just do ad after ad after ad after ad in their Facebook or their Instagram feed because that user would stop using Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook has to make sure to do a proportionate amount of ads and friends and family posts and group posts and, Facebook watch videos, things like that. So if person A ends up falling into an audience for, let's say, 500,000 advertisers that are all targeting that same person A audience, there is no way that all of the ads are going to be able to get through to that person. So it depends on not only your audience size and your budget, but it's also going to depend on how many other advertisers are targeting similar people, because you are competing against, again, not only family and friends posts, but also other advertisers. There are millions of different data points that Facebook really utilizes to determine whether or not to show somebody an ad and when or when not to do so. Again, to make sure that they keep that user experience positive. So that could be a reason why you have a 1 million person audience and a $10 a day budget, yet you start seeing your ad frequency creep up to 2, 3, 4, and 5. So don't let your big audience, small budget fool you. You still need to monitor your Facebook ad frequency. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you how to check it. And I'm going to show you how to set up an automated rule so that if your ad frequency gets above a certain number, you can get an alert or just shut the ad off completely. That is one of my super time-saving hacks for very busy marketers who do not want to live in their Facebook ads account. So I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Now I want to give you my recommendation about Facebook ad frequency. So a lot of people will ask me, well, what's a good Facebook ad frequency if I should be monitoring it? Now, generally, I'll say any frequency under 4 or 5 is good. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, well, what if I'm above that? Then you either need to refresh your offer, your creative, your text, something that is going to freshen your ad, because audiences can get fatigued. if somebody is seeing the exact same ad with the exact same wording, with the exact same image 4, 5, or 6 times, they're going to start to lose interest and they might actually start reporting your ad for spam. So we don't want that. We want to give people something fresh to look at. So there are a few exceptions now when we're talking about ad frequency. So there are a couple times where I will let an ad frequency get above a 5 and I will not worry about it. Number one is if it's an e-commerce store and we're using catalog sales or in other words, dynamic product ads. So what these ads are they're basically taking a collection of products, and depending on what that user has visited on the website or what that user has done on that particular site, it's dynamically updating what products they're showing. So if you have a pretty large product catalog, there's a very good chance that every single time that user scrolls, they're going to see a different product or they're going to see it arranged a little bit differently, because typically dynamic product ads will use carousel ads. So let's say if somebody views collection A on your website, you want to target them with that same collection. A lot of times what Facebook will do is they'll mix up that first and second card. As long as you select that when you're actually designing your ad, you can switch up what product the user sees first so that it appears a little bit fresh. They're not seeing the exact same product every single time. So even if somebody is seeing that dynamic product ad 10, 11, 12 times, they're very likely going to see different images, different products every single time. So that audience is going to take a lot longer to get fatigued because they're not seeing the same imagery constantly. Now, if you are not an e-commerce store, but you still use carousel ads and you have selected to dynamically update the best performing cards to be first. So let's say you have a 6 carousel ad and you have it to dynamically update based on how many people are clicking on the cards. Basically, it will put the card or the little rectangle that is being clicked on the most, they'll go ahead and put that first. So this is another example of every single time an audience member scrolls past your ad, they're likely going to see a different carousel card, meaning again, it's going to take that audience a lot longer to get fatigued. So I will allow that frequency of any carousel ad as long as you have it set to dynamically update the cards. I will allow that ad to get a little bit higher in terms of frequency. Now, the last way that I will allow the frequency to get a little bit higher is if I'm retargeting a very small audience that is very, very hot. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I'm running a challenge or a webinar or something like that, and I just want to target a very small audience. So let's say the 100 or 200 or 300 people that have visited my sales page with like a last chance offer, and I really just want to hammer it to them. I really want them to see it several different times. I want to stay top of mind, especially if it's a high ticket item that they can't just, pull out their credit card and purchase at any point. They might have to ask a business partner or a spouse or someone like that in order to make that purchase. I want to make sure that I'm staying top of mind so that I catch them at the right time, especially if it's a promotion that's going on in a very short period of time. I'm okay with showing them that ad 10, 11, 12 times because it's time sensitive. It's really important, and it's actually, again, serving them because I want to stay top of mind. If they visited my sales page or if they started a checkout process, they're obviously interested in whatever I'm selling. So because they have given me that indication that they are interested, I'm okay with showing them the ad. Now, if it was a cold audience that I was, consistently putting my ad 12, 13, 14 different times in front of the same person, then I would probably back up and say, okay, I need to rethink my strategy. I need to try a new audience, or I need to try a new offer or creative or something like that. But as long as it's a super hot audience that's very interested in what I'm selling, I'm okay with the higher frequency. All right, now let's dive into Ads Manager and look at how you can monitor your ad frequency. Once you're in Facebook Business Manager, go ahead and select the campaign that you want to monitor the frequency for. I like to monitor frequency at the ad level because that's where all of my different creative choices are. So the default column breakdown does not show frequency. So what I like to do is under columns, instead of the default, which is performance, I like to go down to delivery. Now, as you can see, my frequency is now reported. And I like to use lifetime for monitoring the frequency because if you use a smaller time frame, this might be underreported and people may have actually seen your ad more than is reported. So again, my frequency is still under 3, so I am doing okay for this ad. Now I'm going to walk through how you can set up an automated rule to shut off frequency once it reaches a certain point. All right, so now in Facebook Business Manager, I went ahead and under Business Tools, I scrolled down until I found Automated Rules. And this is the screen that it brings me to. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit Create Rule. I'm going to call it Frequency Rule. let's call it frequency over 5. Now I can apply it to all active ad sets, all active ads, or all active campaigns. Again, I like to monitor frequency at the ad level because I know I'm constantly split testing different creatives. Now, I do not usually like to have it turn off all ads, but I will have it send me a notification just alerting me that I might want to check things out and might want to refresh my creative. Now, if you're going on vacation or you're going to be totally unavailable and you don't want to waste money, you might want to go ahead and turn off all ads. Now, instead of cost per result, I'm going to go ahead and find frequency, and I'm going to choose frequency greater than 5 per my title. And I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And then again, I like to monitor frequency on a lifetime basis. Now, just as a quick tip, if you noticed, there are all different things that you can go ahead and monitor. So you can do cost per lead, you can do all different types of things in these automated rules. But again, we're focusing on frequency right now. Again, I like to monitor it on a lifetime basis. I'm going to use my account defaults. I'm going to schedule this continuously. So as long as the ad is running, it's going to go ahead and continue to run this rule every 30 minutes. And I like to receive notifications both on Facebook and via email if I'm a little bit unplugged from social media. Now, if you have different team members or if you have an ads manager, you can go ahead and type their names in here and then go ahead and hit the enter key. But I'm going to go ahead and hit create for this rule. Now, again, this is going to make it so much easier to monitor my ads, especially if I have a small audience or a really big budget, which is going to cause my frequency to increase at a really fast rate. So this is a great way to monitor your ads without spending a ton of time constantly checking. All right, well, that wraps up our discussion about Facebook ad frequency. I hope that helped to demystify that metric a little bit for you, and I hope it made your life a little bit easier by setting up automated rules so that you don't have to constantly check your ad frequency. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want more Facebook ad tips and tricks or any super simple marketing strategies. And don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. I put out a new episode every single Tuesday with more long form tips and advice. So I'm going to go ahead and link that in the description of this video. Have a great day, guys.